Fulham 2, Liverpool 2. Very frustrating game, to be honest. If I was to sum up that performance in just one word, it would be complacent. From that first whistle, something just felt off. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because of last week's high, beating Man City, outperforming Man City in the Charity Shield. The players maybe think that they could just stroll into this game against a newly promoted side and just wipe the floor with them. The team just didn't seem up for it from the start. Fulham started well. They were aggressive, they played high intensity, they pressed, they tried to make things happen, they were adventurous. But in those kinds of games, the better side has to basically exert, they have to show quality. They have to earn the right to play. And they do that by being able to pass out of the press, by dominating the ball, by showing that superior ability. And then the weaker side will eventually have to fall further back. They'll run out of steam. You can pen them in and start creating chances. But in that first half in particular, we just never did that. And it's really, really disappointing, to be honest. When I saw the team sheet, I was thinking, good. Pretty much full strength. Alisson back. Thank God Adrian's not in there. The only real change you could argue was having Núñez instead of Firmino. But to me, it's the strongest midfield three we have. Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho. And we should have had way too much for Fulham, for sure. But it certainly didn't look like the team that finished 1 point off Man City in the Premier League last year and finished in the final of the Champions League were playing a newly promoted side. Everything early on was, the passing was just so sloppy, out of play, missing easy passes, just a lack of control for the game. Players looked like they were in second gear, third gear. What summed up the first half well was after Fulham's first goal, Liverpool gave the ball away in the space of about 3 seconds in the centre circle straight from tip. Fabinho plays the ball to Thiago, who just gets it caught under his feet. I mean, how often, if ever, do you see something like that happen to Thiago? And on top of that, Thiago ends up going off injured, which, there's been this big debate about, do we need an extra midfielder? And for sure, we've got the numbers in there. There's no doubt about that. But what about the quality? Do we have sufficient quality if one of those starting 3 midfielders, and maybe throw Kate in there, get injured? That's the big question. For Fulham's goal, I do think we're a bit unlucky. In the build-up to the goal, Henderson clearly gets his foot stamped on. The referee doesn't call it, goes down the other side of the pitch, ends up going across to Mitrovic, who beats Alexander-Arnold in the air too easily, in my opinion. Trent, I mean, he improved a lot in the second half, showed some nice creativity, showed some really nice passing. But for these kind of aerial duels, he's actually a pretty big guy now. Like he's really filled out, he's strong, he's probably 5'10", 5'11", and he just never really challenged like he wanted that ball. And that is a problem for a fullback. Liverpool only really started improving. There were a few opportunities first half. Diaz scored a disallowed goal, a couple other crosses came in, Salah headed over. But we had 3 shots in the first half, 0 on target. It was really, really poor. And it was only when Núñez came on for Firmino and Thiago got injured, Elliott came on for him, that we started looking more like ourselves. And Núñez was one of the bright spots for this game. It's that presence he has up front. He's 6'2", he's strong, he's fast, he can hold the ball up. And it was a different kind of threat for Fulham. He was always running in behind as well. The other bit of link-up that I like, and this happened last season as well before Elliott got injured, but Salah and Elliott on that right-hand side have some excellent interchange. And then with Trent feeding, Liverpool started turning it on a bit, and everything Liverpool did well in the second half, or in the whole game actually, was down the right-hand side. And twice Salah was able to put balls into the box that Núñez twice went for a flick with his right foot. The first one was saved. The second one went in, and I was thinking, oh my God, unbelievable goal. Great finish. By the way, delighted for Núñez to get off the mark, and he's looking really, really promising. But on the replay, what actually happened was Salah played it in. It took a slight deflection off the first defender. Núñez missed the ball with his flick. It hit the defender behind Núñez, back onto the foot that Núñez was trying to flick the ball in with, looped over the keeper and into the net. So it was a little bit lucky, but we'll take it. So Liverpool back in the game at this point, and Núñez is posing a different threat. He's running in behind, and a couple times he wins headers or the ball drops to him in the box, just with that presence. And it felt inevitable that a goal was coming. It felt like there was only going to be one winner at this point, and that was going to be Liverpool. Unfortunately, though, Matip is at the halfway line, gives a terrible pass away. Fulham on the counter-attack. Mitrovic is one-on-one with Van Dijk. And I know what you're thinking. Normally, you bet your house on Van Dijk in a one-on-one situation. He is as good as it gets in these situations. But he kind of sloppily, Mitrovic hits the ball past him and he sort of dangles out both legs. He does make contact at Mitrovic, but it looks minimal. And Mitrovic looks like he is going to hit the ground as soon as he can. It was a really, really soft penalty. Went for VAR review. Penalty was given, unfortunately. Apparently, that was the first penalty Liverpool have conceded in like 52 games. I did hope that Alisson would get something on it, but Mitrovic played it low to Alisson's right-hand side, hit the net, 2-1 Fulham. And that momentum Liverpool had built, we never really got it back afterwards. Thank God we got the equaliser. Trent played a nice ball in. Núñez ended up getting the assist to Salah. Salah slid into the corner, so that's a goal and an assist for Núñez in 35 minutes. Fantastic start. Salah as well. That's the 6th season in a row he scored on the first day of the season, breaking his own record. So amazing, Salah. Congrats. He was super quiet first half, by the way. Didn't do anything. Second half, though, he picked it up and was one of the main threats. But that goal was a little bit out of nowhere. And we never really looked like scoring a third. Or at least the onslaught that I wanted, that I expected from a team as good as Liverpool against the newly promoted side in the last 10 minutes that I thought would come. It never really came. We never really had sustained pressure and made the Fulham defence panic. Closest we came to scoring was Henderson had a 25-yard shot, right-footed, first time, curling towards the far corner, hits the bar. I mean, it was so unlucky. It was a great strike. I mean, I would have been over the moon if that one went in. But unfortunately, it didn't, and the game finished 2-2. And I don't want to come across too negative. You can probably tell that I feel a bit down about the result, but the problem is, these aren't normal circumstances. We're not competing in a normal Premier League season. We're competing with one of the best teams ever in the Premier League history. Last season, Liverpool drew 8 games and lost just 2. And we finished second with 92 points. 2018-2019, we even did better than that. We lost 1 game, drew 7, finished with 97 points, finished second. The reality is, you can't draw many games if you want to win this league. And I think the hope for Liverpool this season is that Haaland will take some time to integrate, Phillips will take some time to integrate, Alvarez will take some time to integrate, and that Man City, because they've only played 2 friendlies and the Charity Shield game, hopefully they're going to be a bit off the pace early on and they'll drop some points. And I was hoping that Liverpool's extra continuity would mean that they'd be able to build up a bit of a lead. And the season Liverpool won the league a few years ago, that's what happened. We had about a 9-point lead in around October, and City never caught it up. So we kind of had to win this game, to be honest. The only games that draws or good results in are probably maybe the Man City at Anfield, potentially, and then the top 6 away from home. You'd even want to be winning some of those games for sure. But in the right circumstances, you'd take a draw against some of the top 6 away from home. You can't be drawing newly promoted sides to win this league. Man City just aren't going to drop enough points. That's the way it is. In terms of XG for this game, Fulham had 1.27, Liverpool had 2.34. So we did enough to win the game. And by the way, 0.7 of that Fulham XG was the penalty. And we had 67% possession. So it's still, even though we didn't play well for most of the game, the stats would suggest we did enough to win. But we couldn't pull it out of the bag. We've done it so many times before, not playing well, managing to get over the line. Couldn't do it today, unfortunately. But look, big positive. Salah on the score sheet. Nunez looking the part. And to put a positive spin on it, Man City lost their first game of the season last year. And they went on to win the league. So who's to say Liverpool can't bounce back and do the same thing? See you next time.